Hey, I'm Nathan Joyce, and I'm Senior Pastor of Preaching at Heartland Church, and we just really have become convinced that our discipleship is not so much gathering as much information as we can, although we think information is important about the Bible and about God, of course, but really it's about shaping our hearts and using the knowledge of the Bible not just to fill our minds, but to shape what we desire, what we want, what we love. We believe that where our treasure is, our heart is also, and that our heart is the guiding system of our life. And we've also come to believe that the way our hearts are shaped most profoundly is through habit. Things that we do repetitively over and over again shape what we desire, what we love, what we seek. And so we wanted to give a tool that would help you implement building a rhythm in your life to be able to develop spiritual habits that will nurture your love for Jesus, that will shape your heart, and that will defend you from the indoctrinating propaganda machine that our culture is. And that spiritual tool that we have is called Creating a Sacred Rhythm in this document here. We're giving these out at our church, and so what we want to offer you today through this video is just instruction about how this tool works. And inside, if you open it up, and I'll just go through it so that you have an understanding about it. If you open it up, you see there's really three parts to it. There are guidelines for spiritual habits. There's this paper that's inside that is your spiritual habit itinerary. This is your calendar that you'll actually build a plan on. And then the next section is the spiritual habit menu. This menu has various spiritual practices that you can use to fill in this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday calendar, and to customize and build your own rule of life, which is your own spiritual habit plan. So I'm going to go over this to make sure you understand it well. There are several guidelines that we want to make sure that you follow. The first one is this: we want to set you up for success. So we're asking you to start with your strengths, to start with the things that might come a little easier to you. And so if you're a thinker, then actually Bible reading, Bible study is going to obviously be something that comes natural to you. Reading Christian books, that's going to come natural to you. But if you're not, if you love music, then you might want to start with time and meditation through music. We just want you to start with things that you're stronger in, because we want to set you up for success and not failure. If you already have some spiritual habits going and you're going to adopt something that you haven't done in the past, then maybe you do something that's a little bit more difficult for you and stretch yourself. We do believe that probably the things that don't come as easy to us are going to be most beneficial, but we just want you to build up into that. The second thing is we want you to start slow. If you're going to start running, you don't go start with a marathon. You start with a mile or a couple miles, and then you build up from there. So start slow with achievable goals so that you can last and endure in these habits and disciplines. The third thing is to plan ahead, to make a plan, which is what this spiritual habit tool is for in the first place. If you don't plan and aren't intentional, it just won't happen. And so we think that that's important. Fourth is mix it up. Don't do the same program, the same habits every day. If you were to work out your body, you might work out your arms one day, or your legs another day, or your core another day. And so you wouldn't work out the same parts of your body every day. So maybe on some days you focus a little more on prayer or solitude, or some days on fasting, and some days on Bible reading, whatever it may be. Mix it up so it doesn't become monotonous to you, and so that you're exercising different parts of your soul. The fifth thing is have grace for yourself. You're not going to be perfect in it. You're going to have days where it's going to be a challenge because of lack of motivation, sometimes just because of schedule or travel. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Don't be harsh on yourself, but don't let it shame you, but also don't let it stop you from getting back in the game on the next day. The sixth thing is location, location, location. Where you choose to do this matters. And not just where, because we do want you to choose a place where maybe there is some quiet, where you can really concentrate on God and giving your whole presence to God. But even more than that, think about what you would see and hear, places that are conducive, places that allow you to interact with creation, or that offer you solitude and quiet. Not only that, I mean, some people are deeply affected by even what they smell. I know some folks who will light a candle or even incense or something else like that just helps them connect to just the presence of God and the Word of God. And the final thing is, in the guidelines, is share your plan. Don't just keep this to yourself. Share it not only for accountability, but also for spiritual conversations. So now let me share with you the different spiritual habits and give you just a short explanation just to help you know how to use it. What we want you to do is to look through these habits and fill out this sheet right here, what you would do on each day of the week. And you might put more than one on each day of the week, but just fill that in for your calendar. The first one is a breath prayer. All that is a specific word or statement that you adopt, that throughout your day, all you have to do is say that word or statement, and it draws your mind back to Jesus. We think about what we love, and so we need that intentionality of thinking about the presence of God. God's presence is always with us, but we need moments where we're intentionally present to Him. This is not something you do, setting 10 or 15 minutes apart from your day. This is something that you do throughout your day, and you can write that phrase in different places to make you remember that. A second spiritual habit might be what we call the ride home takeaway. And this is just for your family to get into spiritual conversations. One of the great and easy ways to do that is from the drive from church on the way home or to the restaurant. Just ask the question, how did God speak to you today? And let everybody share that and open up spiritual conversations. A third habit is what we are calling soul Bible reading. We don't want you to read the Bible like you would read a how-to book or a novel even, where the goal is to get to the end as quickly as possible. We want you to read it in a way that allows it to speak deeply into your soul. And to do that, here's what we want to say: read small sections of Scripture, read them slowly. We're encouraging you to repeat the reading 3 times in a way that would allow you to go deeper into the passage. And then we've even given you some questions about the passage to help you reflect on. Another spiritual habit is fasting. We think of fasting, obviously fasting from food is the most common fast, but oftentimes we're thinking of fasting for a day, a week, or even a month. We're saying even do this: fast from lunch one day a week, and use that time in the presence of God in prayer, in Bible reading, or whatever else, whatever way that you can encounter God. Just remember this: just sacrificing something, whether it would be food or technology or TV or whatever, is not fasting in and of itself, unless what you sacrifice gives you more time and more attention to God. Another spiritual habit that listed in this document is your days in journal. This is just at the end of the day, taking a moment or a few moments to be able to record how you experienced God in that day. What were your struggles? Kind of what was the spiritual rhythm of your day? To look back and assess. And not only does that help you stay accountable and reflect, but it also, we believe, as you do that habit, makes you more mindful of God's presence throughout the day as you do that practice. Obviously, another spiritual habit we mentioned here is intercessory prayer, in which you just keep a list of people and situations to be praying for. There actually are great even apps for your phone like PrayerMate that will keep those lists for you, and you can look through those as you do that. Another spiritual habit is solitude and silence. This really has to do with just really clearing your mind, clearing your heart, being in a very quiet place and being present to God. The power of this really is not so much the discipline of it, because your mind will drift and you will have to use probably your phrase from your breath prayer over and over again. My phrase is present to you. And so when I participate in solitude or silence, I have to repeatedly say present to you to bring my mind back to being present to God. Once again, God is always present with you. Our goal here is to give all of our attention and presence to Him. And so the gift of this is you receive a grace through this of God's love, that you don't have to be active or to do something or to pray something in order for God to want to be with you. If you've ever just had somebody you felt so comfortable with that you could be with them for some time and not have to speak to be able to fill the time, there's just a comfort level and a grace and a love in that. That's what we believe you'll get from that. And then another habit is just to use music as a moment of worship. Incorporate Christian music and worship into your daily life, and that can be just in your car or on your way to doing things in life, but also some specific time to play some music and sing and to offer praise to the Lord and practice joy in Him. We think that can be a really powerful thing. Also, music can be a great gateway into the other disciplines. If you're struggling to be disciplined in any other ones, start with music in that time and that quiet time, and let it lead you into that. If attention is a difficult thing for you, then playing music can be a great way to focus upon the presence and truths of God. Another spiritual habit in this list is called soul talk, and this is just really the habit of having conversations with other Christians about what God is doing in your life, and we've even given you some questions to follow to help that process. What we love, we talk about, and so what we talk about, we obviously grow in love. Another spiritual habit is generosity. And this is really, we don't think of it as a spiritual habit, but this starts with the habit of tithes and offerings to your church. If you're a Heartland Church member, we expect part of your worship to God to be your financial tithe, giving 10%, and growing in generosity and selflessness in that. But go beyond that. Find ways to be generous with your time and with your money, with your possessions, and allow God to release you from the possessiveness of possessions over your soul. And the final thing we'll just mention is utilize spiritual seasons like Christmas, like Easter, like Holy Week, Lent, building up to Holy Week. Utilize these to build into yourselves habits that allow you to immerse yourself beyond just the commercial kind of expressions of those seasons, and to really experience them, especially if you're in your family and the discipleship of your children and grandchildren. Participate in Advent and do very active, experiential kinds of things to help immerse yourselves in the Christmas story, in the final week of Jesus before Easter, in fasting from something during Lent, whatever that might be. Those can be powerful times. We hope that you'll participate with us. We believe that these habits will pay off for you in terms of your growth and the cultivating of a heart that is in love with Jesus and that treasures Him, and that we believe that will result in powerful growth, spiritual growth, and discipleship. Participate with us in this. Get this tool, this creating spiritual rhythm, spiritual habit tool, and participate with us. Hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any other questions, call our office. Any of our pastors would be glad to meet with you and go in further explanation. But we're excited to see what God may do through this.